The Chancellor has announced a series of measures that may make headlines but may not amount to much in his budget for growth. The pension measures will certainly make the headlines, but I'm not convinced they do what's needed in the long term. But the Chancellor may not be interested in this, instead concentrating on keeping people of my age in work by allowing them to keep topping up their pension. Over the years, I've seen a number of bankers retire when the opportunity of pension contributions was restricted by the lifetime allowance. Without additional pension opportunities, what was the point of sticking around for the hassle that the job provided, and so valuable experience was consigned to reducing the golf handicap or a new career in gardening or maybe childcare for the family members. We have a crisis in the labour market in that too many took retirement following COVID, leaving sectors like health in some difficulty. So this change may tempt people back out. But is it enough to change for everybody else? My thought on pensions is that for high earners, the restrictions prevent investment, and likely at a time when, with mortgages paid, funds could be set aside. The government wants us to provide for our own retirement, but despite increasing maximum investment from $4,000 to $10,000 per annum for the highest paid, it seems difficult to see how the previous lifetime allowance could actually be reached. I've always favoured the best approach to be the annual allowance, now $60,000 up from $40,000, to be applied whatever the earnings are until the fund reaches, say, £750,000, whereafter investment be restricted as set out by the Chancellor. In this way, individuals can plan a strategy based upon getting a home, having a family, paying off the mortgage, and then providing for retirement, so that they can have a balanced approach and not go without things during life to save when really young. In an environment when people can't afford the basics, let alone the luxuries, is this not the way we should start thinking? That leads me on to another bugbear that I raised recently with a Bank of England agent at a presentation. Employers need to have some certainty around the base rate to make plans, as do employees who need to understand what they can and can't afford. In my working life, I've known average base rates of 10%, 5% and 1%, and we're now in a period where we might see a new average or return to the previous 5%. Many of our staff with mortgages have only known the 1% base rate, and so when fixed periods come to an end, need to have an idea of what they are faced with. The incessant quest for news on the 24-hour loops leads us to over-focus on these issues, and this in turn causes worries about recession that feed into Bank of England surveys, which leads to more worry, and so the cycle goes. Yet a lot of businesses are still doing well. So is there a real recession on the cards or not? The Chancellor now thinks not. The market suggests increases to 4.5% before dropping down to around 3%. But of course, this could change tomorrow. Thankfully, it seems that inflation will also fall to 2.9%, which will be tremendous news if it actually happens. I did note silence on the support for business energy costs, and this has been a major source of cost increase on supermarket shelves, with little or no support being provided. Whilst it's important to help the general public with its costs, it also pays to assist businesses which see high energy costs in their productive processes. And if 2.9% is going to be year-end inflation, it will be key to keep business costs down. The increase in free childcare is another method of increasing the workforce. Firstly, because we need it to, and secondly, to help with the cost of living crisis. In the run-up to the referendum in 2016, not enough was made of the size of the UK economy and how we would cope without the influx of European workers. It's my view that the economy was always greater than the number of in-work age UK citizens living and working here, so help was always needed. With doors closed, we now find it difficult to recruit staff in most sectors, suffer wage inflation as a consequence, and have very low unemployment. Giving more childcare help will swell the number of people available to work, and employers will be grateful, but most are likely to be part-time, and this can present management with other challenges. I'm always interested in changes made to capital allowances. The 130% super allowance comes to a close on 31st March, But in essence, there has been some restrictions already applied to this in its final years, with non-coterminous periods seeing a discount applied to the headline rate. This is to be replaced by a new scheme that sees many of the same rules as applied to the super allowance, in that assets must be brand new, they can't be second-hand to qualify, but it won't apply to cars or assets used in the leasing trade. The new scheme is called full expensing and is in play between 1st of April 2023 to 1st of April 2026. It suggests there's no limit, so the more you spend, the more tax relief you get. At a time when the corporation tax rate is rising from 19 to 25% for profits in excess of £250,000, this is seen as a carrot to encourage businesses to kit up and improve productivity, generating growth or efficiency, allowing surplus employees to retrain for other areas in the economy. But what of the printer who can't afford a new machine and can only afford a better second-hand machine costing $800,000 that will generate him efficiencies over his existing machine? As a second-hand machine, it won't qualify for the full expensing relief, but it will still qualify for the annual investment allowance, as the £1 million ceiling has been made permanent. This was due to reduce back to $200,000, so it will become very welcome. Unfortunately, the provisions of the full expensing regime will only be available to limited companies. So sole traders, partnerships and limited liability partnerships like Lambert Chapman will have to use the AIA rules. Overall, a budget of headlines with some interesting measures that may or may not produce the results that the Chancellor wants. Only time will tell. As usual, if there are any points in this budget that you require clarification on, please do not hesitate to contact us.